it's Alexander, coming to you from my sewing room, and today our project is going to be a polka dot sweatshirt. That's right, polka dots. Now I know some people have some weird aversion to polka dots. Guess what? You're going to see me make a polka dot sweatshirt anyway. I happen to like polka dots, so we're just going to jump right into it and start sewing. For this sewing adventure, I'm going to use my favorite sweatshirt pattern, McCall's M7841 View A. Now, you've seen me use this in the past. If you follow me on Instagram, link below, you've seen I've made many sweatshirts with this pattern, currently the one I'm wearing now. Why? Because one, I think it fits really well for me, and two, it's endlessly adjustable. Size, width, length, easy, and it's a great thing if you're just starting out to sew. This is a great piece that you should have in your sewing kit. As always, I lay my fabric, which has been pre-washed, out on my dining room table, using a teapot to hold it in place. I know, classy, right? Just pinning everything around, making my adjustments as needed. The good thing is with this fabric being a solid color, I don't have to worry about which way is up or down or right or left or anything of that matter. If this is your first time sewing with a thicker material, fleece, French terry, as the case I am using, I would recommend having some sharp scissors. It just makes it a lot easier when cutting out the pattern pieces. Also, when cutting out your pattern, I recommend doing everything at once. Cut out everything. In this case, the body, the sleeves, and here I'm cutting out the rib. For this shirt, I'm using matching rib, not contrasting. Now, I bet you're asking yourself, what, Alexander, are you going to use to make the polka dots? Well, I could take old fabric and satin stitch the circles on. Oh my god, what a palaver. No. What I'm going to do is use heat transfer vinyl, or HTV. Those of you who don't know, heat transfer vinyl is a product that you can purchase at many locations. I bought mine through Amazon, but it is also available at major retailers, Michael's, Joann's, I presume. I'm in Canada, so you can buy it at Michael's. That's where I thought about buying it. I got a variety pack from Amazon. I will leave the link below as to what I used. Now, heat transfer vinyl is basically just that. Vinyl you can cut out into shapes, and then with your iron it onto anything. Anything, t-shirt, sweatshirt, bags if you like. It's something that I randomly discovered through the YouTube and now decided to try out myself. Now, to make the actual dots themselves, you have a few options. You could carefully draw out and use some scissors to make round dots. You could use a glass, put it on top of the vinyl, trace around with an X-Acto knife to get that perfect circle. Personally, since I have one, I'm going to use my Cricut Explore Air2 and use the software from Cricut and make circles that are 3.5 inches in diameter. For me personally, I think this is going to be the easiest and the most cost-effective way of doing it. If you do not have those items, a glass, an X-Acto knife, cut around, or if you don't want to do polka dots, do something else. Diamonds, hearts, small countries, whatever you choose. Eggplant. The Cricut software was fairly easy, just drew a circle. Once my circle was picked, all I had to do was press print and watch the Cricut machine go and go and go. Now I followed the manufacturer's instructions and put the shiny side down. Please follow the instructions that you get with your heat transfer vinyl. And there you go. All my circles cut. Exciting. Now, once I had all my dots cut out, it was time to do a dry test run on the pattern pieces that I had cut out. The vinyl dots themselves, the clear plastic has a slight tackiness to it. It means I can place them onto the actual fabric themselves, and it will generally hold in that location, which makes it easier for ironing. I tried to place the dots in the most random pattern possible. I didn't want them to be structured or too many dots in one location. I also tried to mix up the colors of the dots on each, the front, the back, the sleeves. Now, once I had all my dots in their general locations, it was time to take the pieces of fabric over to the ironing board and iron them individually. Now, I am using my own iron and using the settings recommended on the heat transfer vinyl package to do the ironing themselves. If you are using something like I've seen those machines that do it for you, knock yourself out. This is me using an iron and a tea towel to get all the dots down. Now, some of the dots did move when I was transferring it from the dining room table to the ironing board. Now, as you see here, you have to apply quite a bit of pressure when ironing the polka dots down. Once the iron has been heated to the right setting and you have pressed down, you gently peel off the clear plastic coating. I found personally, some colors didn't stick down as well as others, i.e. the pink didn't stick down as well, or the green, so I had to go over those areas quite a few times. You might not have the same, but just remember that. You may have noticed that when I placed the dots, they are about an inch away from all the edges of the fabric pieces. Why? Because we're doing a 5/8 seam allowance and you don't want to sew into the dots. You want to make sure those dots are nicely spaced but not too close to the seams. After ironing all those dots, which took a while because I was doing it the old-fashioned way, iron, tea towel over every single dot, it was now time to come to my sewing room and sew up the shirt. The fact that I know this pattern so well means I start with the body of the garment. And because of my placement of the dots, I wasn't worried about sewing through them when doing my 5/8 inch seam allowance. Now, as I said previously, I have made this pattern many times. So if you're following along at home and have the pattern, I am not really going with how the pattern instructions say how to put the garment together. I'm going on many months of experience of making this garment. So you'll see there's a slight discombobulation of the order I'm doing things. Now, I am a Virgo, and I like to have things just so. So you may notice I'll be triple stitching the shirt together and then using my serger to serge over those seams. I personally think it looks better, it holds up better, and is a little more professional. When serging, I make sure that my original seam is not being taken off by the serger. I use the presser foot as a guide. Now that I have the body of the garment sewn together, it's time to move on to the ribbing for the cuffs, neckline, and hem. Ribbing can be tricky if this is your first time. Just make sure when you cut the pattern out, you made sure to include the notches. The notches are your saving grace. You line up those, everything else will come into place. Now it is on to my least favorite part of doing any shirt, any sweatshirt, and that is setting in the sleeves. I don't like doing it. I don't know anyone who does. But you gotta do it, unless you want a sleeveless number. Do I want to sleeveless number? No. Setting in the sleeves. I find it really helpful to go slowly when setting in the sleeves. Take your time, make sure the pins are there. After that, everything will work. Now, it was just on to serging the rest of the garment. Any other seam that hadn't been serged, neckline, hem, cuffs, and so on, just serged right through it, just to give that a little bit more of a professional look. As mentioned before, I'm using the presser foot as a guide, making sure not to cut into my original triple stitch seams. Now, the pattern does not call for this, but I always do it. Top stitching. I top stitch, as you can see here, around the neckline, around the cuff, around the hem. 1, it keeps the serged area inside flat, makes it a little nicer to wear. 2, I just think it looks a little more professional, and it's those little details that make it your garment, not someone else's. I use my 1/4 inch seam guide on my presser foot for the top stitching. Again, making sure to catch the serged edges underneath in that top stitching to give a more professional finished look. So officially, the garment is now done. So you know what that means? Fashion show! So there you have it, the journey of this polka dot sweatshirt. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit about heat transfer vinyls in the process and that you can do it at home too. So if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button below. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you know when my new videos come out. Also, if you like this video, please comment below. Do you like seeing this sort of video? Do you want me to make more of these sort of sweatshirts? Do you want me to make other items that I'm not aware of? Let me know in the comments below. Bye now. Happy sewing. Holy jeepers, I got some big hair going on. Well, you know, higher the hair, the closer to Dolly.